bit of an extended period, a bit of a break. Have you had a chance to catch your breath and reflect and look back at the work that you've done so far? Because statistically, it's been really good.
Yeah, it feels like we've been here a lot longer than probably what we have, to be honest, in a really good way. I think there's been obviously some good games, some good results, some good work on the training ground, and the players have been kind of embracing what we're trying to, in the direction that we're trying to take them, you know. So it's been a really obviously enjoyable start, but I think this has given us a time, not so much for me and coaches, but for the players a little bit. I think when you're coming through change, psychologically, emotionally, it can be quite challenging, you know, and the boys have been kind of right at it in terms of investing everything in. So it's came at a good time to have a bit of a deep breath, take it in, like you said, and kind of get ready for the next challenges.
But when you say it feels like you've been here a lot longer, is that because you're just comfortable? Are you comfortable in this environment?
I'm happy to be here, yeah, for sure. I think it's a great place to be, you know, and for me, it's I've been here for so long that kind of I know it so well. So from that side of things, it's felt pretty normal and in a really good way, and never take it for granted in terms of normal that it lasts forever, but certainly in terms of how we go about it, how we feel the working with the players, and their feeling of just being here back at Manchester United is pretty special.
So when you talk about how you feel and how you're putting things together, I wondered, and I've always wanted to ask, in this period of time that you've been in, how did you put your team together? I know you picked up Manager of the Month, but that's a representation of the team and the work that's been put in. How did you go about putting this team together that work with you?
Yeah, it takes a little bit. I think understanding probably what we're going to need in terms of to provide the service for the players in the end, you know, to try and help them. So I'd obviously worked with Jonathan before at Middlesbrough, and he knows me and keeps pushing me and challenging me and questioning things, but in a really good way, positive way. Johnny I've known for a long time, and he knows the club as much as me, and his kind of perspective on things, he's got a really good ideas about the game. Trav, really important for us with, you know, we're talking on the end of being the Youth Cup week and the academy and how important it is to the team, and Trav knowing that has been vital for us to create and keep that connection. And Steve really was one that just having that little bit more experience, if you like, of coming in, being around teams that have changed managers at Chelsea, being used to being around top players in environments at World Cups, and just felt that it kind of brought a good mix really, and complement each other. So it's been great, you know, considering we didn't really know each other coming in. Again, it feels that we have been friends for years. Is a really corny thing to say, but it feels like we've known each other for a long time.
When you were putting your team together, and you were studying for your pro licence, you're a massive Formula One fan, right? Did that come into your thinking of how you put teams together to make them successful?
Probably subconsciously, yeah. I think it's something I've always looked at, different sports teams, and lucky enough to get really close and behind the scenes with Formula One over the years, and see how it works, the detail, how many different angles that you kind of come from to put the team together, and personalities and strengths, and hiding the weaknesses, and that's part of it really, and play to your strengths. So all that side of things I'm interested in. There's then obviously a balance between what fits for football, but certainly whether that's backroom staff, whether that's actually players, whether that's the relationships with everyone and how you manage everyone. I think there's a lot we can take, and I certainly have over the years. Yeah.
Because when you use that word drive, you know, football is very much driven by numbers, isn't it? On the pitch, certainly. And do you find at times that can be misleading when it's just down to purely numbers, statistics, formations, everything that's thrown into that pot?
It's something that, for me and the staff, I think there's certain things and statistics and data that you can kind of get a really good gauge on where you're at. There's other things actually with a bit of feel and instinct as well that might not be totally showing up where you think you're moving in a good direction, or quite the other way. It might show really positive, but really deep down you're watching it, you're thinking it's not quite how we want to see it. So I think there's definitely a balance there, and of using the numbers when in a way that help you rather than for the sake of it, or rather too much, or it's knowing what and how to do it. And I think that's just the skills of the staff throughout the whole club, really, to make the most of the kind of the data and everything that we kind of can get our hands on, and just managing how much we use it.
Because can players get bogged down with data?
I think in the end, for me, you've got to go out there and perform. So some players like more information than others, and I think for me to be aware of who needs what and what brings out the best of them, that's something I would. It's not the same for everyone. I don't think it should, even though we're a team, they need to know the principles, the general feel, but there's actually a lot of individual things within that they need to understand, and actually come back to what I said before about connecting with people and understanding and having that relationship. Sometimes that feel-good factor means a lot more than telling them what position or what run to make, I think, to get the best out of them. So it's a constant balancing act of making decisions of
I never take it for granted. Those were the heartfelt words of Michael Carrick as he reflected on his journey and early experiences at Manchester United. For a man who has seen the club from multiple angles, as a player, captain, and coach, the statement carries deep meaning. It speaks to gratitude, responsibility, and the weight of representing one of the biggest football institutions in the world. Carrick first arrived at Manchester United in 2006, signing from Tottenham Hotspur in a move that came with significant pressure. Replacing a midfield icon like Roy Keane was never going to be simple, and many questioned whether Carrick had the authority and presence to control games at Old Trafford. But quietly and steadily, he built his legacy. Under the legendary guidance of Sir Alex Ferguson, Carrick developed into one of the most intelligent midfielders of his generation. He was not the loudest voice on the pitch, nor the most flamboyant, but his reading of the game, calmness under pressure, and range of passing became crucial to United's success during a dominant era. Reflecting on those early days, Carrick admitted that pulling on the famous red shirt for the first time felt surreal. The size of the club, the expectation from fans, and the standards set by previous generations quickly made him realize that playing for United was both a privilege and a responsibility. He often speaks about the humility required to survive at the highest level. At United, every training session was intense, every match scrutinized, and every mistake magnified. Carrick understood that consistency, not flashiness, would define his career. During his time at the club, he won multiple Premier League titles and lifted the coveted UEFA Champions League trophy in 2008. Those achievements cemented his place in the club's modern history, yet Carrick rarely highlights personal glory when reflecting on that period. Instead, he focuses on the collective spirit of the dressing room. Playing alongside world-class talents instilled a mindset that excellence was the minimum standard. That environment shaped not only his football intelligence but also his leadership qualities. As his playing career progressed, Carrick naturally transitioned into a leadership role. His calm demeanor made him a trusted figure among teammates and coaching staff. When he eventually took on coaching responsibilities, it felt like a continuation rather than a new beginning. Stepping into the dugout at Manchester United brought a different type of pressure. Coaching at a club of such magnitude demands emotional strength and clarity. Carrick admitted that seeing the team from the sidelines gave him a new appreciation for the challenges managers face. He briefly served as caretaker manager during a turbulent period, guiding the team with composure and dignity. Even in that short spell, his deep understanding of the club's culture was evident. He emphasized stability, belief, and returning to core principles. Carrick's reflections often return to gratitude. He speaks warmly about the supporters who backed him through criticism and praise alike. For him, representing United was never just about trophies, it was about connection. He also acknowledges the sacrifices required to succeed at such a high level. The physical demands, mental strain, and constant scrutiny can weigh heavily. Yet Carrick insists he never allowed familiarity to breed complacency. "I never take it for granted" is more than a quote, it is a philosophy. It reveals a mindset rooted in respect for the badge, teammates, and fans. In modern football, where careers can be fleeting and loyalty questioned, Carrick's words resonate deeply. Looking back, Carrick's start at Manchester United may not have been filled with headlines or dramatic moments, but it was built on resilience and intelligence. Over time, he became indispensable, proving that influence is not always loud. Today, as he continues his managerial journey, the lessons from Old Trafford remain central to his approach. Gratitude, discipline, and quiet leadership defined his start at Manchester United, and they continue to define Michael Carrick's story.